And it's live. I should do my earphones. Probably not. Should be okay. So I'm going to wait a few seconds to see who's around. This video is going to be a little bit of a different tone. Overall, it has a happy ending. But honestly, this is something I haven't talking about really publicly really ever. I think I might have given a little bit of insight a few years ago when stuff happened with Bella, with the name change, and some of you might remember why that happened, and I'll get to that. I'm actually a little shaking, which is really weird because I'm usually not I'm usually very open to sharing a lot of my story. And this has a little bit of Bella in it, but it has to do with Bella's father. I am a survivor. I am a survivor of a very bad narcissistic, sociopathic, domestic violent relationship. Bella's father, I was with almost 7 years. And an enlightenment of what had recently happened. Sorry. And seeing some videos, it's triggered a lot of memories. And when you are a survivor of this type of relationship, a severe narcissist with sociopathic tendencies, you could see it a mile away. You could see the signs. You could see the mechanisms. You can see right through it, especially if you get out alive. I'm one of the lucky ones. So I kind of wanted to share today, or this evening, a little bit about that part of my life that I haven't spoken about, in hopes that if there is another woman out there that's in this predicament, that they have a chance to get out before it gets to extremes, the way that I got out. So please bear with me. I did write notes because I want to make sure I touch on important things to look for, so you know what to look for if you are in a relationship that you don't feel that might not be safe, or you're just not sure. Because let me tell you something I am sure about, is when you're in a relationship with a person like this, they make it out as if you are the bad one. And when they get their claws in deep, they're able to manipulate it so badly to the point where you believe them. And then you think you're going crazy. And your whole personality changes. And you are not the same person. And you are sitting there apologizing for everything, taking the fault for everything, wanting to do anything and everything you can to not trigger the one that you love to lash at you. So, a narcissist, they have a sense of self-importance. They think they're better than everybody else. They have a sense of entitlement. They love excessive admiration. Anytime they get compliments, they just wallow in it. They love that shit. They have a lack of empathy. They may claim that they love you, but if something bad happens to you, they'll sit there and laugh. They'll use your weak spots. They'll push every little weak spot that you have. Once they get their claws on you, they'll do it and not give a shit, not think twice, and watch you cry while you're sitting there being questioned and laughing while you're talking with other people on the other side, joking around while your loved one is crying uncontrollably and emotional and has no idea what the hell's going on. I've been in that predicament many times. They demonstrate arrogant behaviors and attitudes. Just like what I just said. I've been in situations where very similar one to what has just happened, and I was crying, I was apologizing, I was taking blame, and they're sitting there making fun of me. He would make fun of me, he would call me crazy, he would tell me to calm down, he would tell me that nobody would want me because I have 2 kids by 2 different guys, that I was worthless, that I was a whore, that I was a nobody, and that I was lucky that I even had him to love me. Yeah. So how does somebody like that get into somebody like me? Get into a young woman, because mind you, when I met Bella's father, I was 22 years old. And I was with him for almost 7 years. So how do they get into you? First of all, how do they even get into that? It's called love bombing. There's an actual term that I never heard of until recently. Love bombing. They're going to wine you, dine you. They're going to say all the beautiful things you want to hear. They're going to tell you how wonderful you are. They're going to love bomb the hell out of you so that you fall for them. And once they get their claws on you, that's when the manipulation and the gaslighting begins. If you try to have a conversation, they always turn it around and make it about them. If you don't, they love compliments. A narcissist loves compliments. If you don't give them any compliments, they will fish for it. And sometimes they fish for it by putting other people down, making fun of other people and judging other people. They really can't hold jobs. Most of them can't hold jobs or hold friendships. But they sure the hell can hold that person, such as me. Especially if you already have low self-esteem and self-worth issues, like I did. They're able to claw into you a little bit easier. They like to pick on you. Narcissists love to pick on you. He used to make fun of me all the time. I was too fat, I was too thin, I had a big nose, my hair was too short, my hair was too long. 2 kids by 2 different guys, even though it's 5 years apart and whatever. Like anything to bring down your self-esteem, that's what they do, and that's exactly what he did. So Bella's father was very nice and charming. We had a lot of fun in the beginning. He seemed like a normal guy. And it wasn't until a few months in, I can't really remember because it's been so long, but probably about the first few months in is when things started changing, when the gaslighting began. If you're in a relationship where your partner is gaslighting you and you start to not feel like who you are anymore, you feel anxious all the time. You feel like you're walking on eggshells because you want to make sure you're making them happy. You feel less confident about yourself. You're wondering if you're being too sensitive. You start taking the blame for everything. You feel like everything that you do is wrong. You're starting to think that everything is your fault. And for everything that goes wrong, everything is your fault. They love to point the finger at you and you just take it. Like, yep, maybe it is me. Maybe I am crazy. That's when the real good manipulation starts happening, is when you really start believing it. When you start thinking that, wow, maybe he's right. You start apologizing, and often. You're always apologizing. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make the wrong food. I'm sorry the beef stew didn't taste to your liking. One of the situations that happened was I was cooking. He was working. Let me back up. So we were in the relationship. He was consistently cheating on me. He would say that I was cheating on him, but he was the one cheating on me. That's another thing they like to do, is try to say you're the one who's cheating when they're the one who's getting away with it, because they have inflated ego, you know. They like when they could get away with things. And when I was starting to see these things, and let me tell you, this was years later, like 5 years of this bullshit, because I thought I could change him. I thought that if I loved him enough and I showed him how much I loved him by doing things for him, that he would change. And because I had such low self-esteem from other prior life experiences and other relationships, and had one kid, I only had Ariana at the time, I was starting to see the light. If I went out with my girlfriends, he would follow to the club. He wasn't 21. I was 20. He was 18, I think, at the time. I was 21. I would go to the club. He would literally go to the club, have the bouncer. He would tell the bouncer, because I would frequent a club that, because I like to dance with my friends, and he would go there, talk to the bouncer and say, my girlfriend's in there, I think she's cheating on me, I want to go in there. And he would have the bouncer walk him. He would go into the club, walk around, look for me, didn't find me. I found out from the bouncer after the fact, and then left. They don't trust you. This is psychotic. If you can't go do things with your friends and they give you a hard time and make you feel guilty about going and having fun with your friends, that's a red sign, red flag. When I was getting ready to leave, that's when I ended up pregnant. How did I end up pregnant? Because he would push himself on me. That's not a very easy thing to share, but if they are pushing themselves on you and you're not wanting it, that is a huge red flag. So when I finally had the balls to break it off, every time I said I was going to break up too, every time you say you're going to break up, they have a flying canary. They panic. They panic. And once they know you're really done, they can get loud, they can get violent. Violence was part of the equation. I've been stabbed in the leg with a fork. I've been choked. I've been punched. We've had some physical altercations. Let's put it that way. Police have been called many times, and there's been plenty of police reports. I finally got away. I finally broke it off when Bella was a year old. And it was pretty nasty for a long time because we had to go through all the court systems. And fortunately, we had supervised visitations for him because I had all these prior police reports of abuse. But the system wasn't good enough to protect her. And I'll leave it at that for right now. What I want to get out there, because I could hear Bella acting up right now, is that if you have a sense of something's wrong, or if any of these things I shared sounds like something you're in, please know that you're worthy of a lot better than what you're in. You deserve more. You are not crazy. And everything that person is telling you is bullshit. When they manipulate you so well, it causes you to doubt yourself. And the narcissist thrives. They thrive on that manipulation. They must be in control of all things, even just, they like control. They like to be in control of all things. They don't like to compromise. They never take responsibility for anything. It's always your fault. And I said this, when you're ready to break up, they're going to love bomb the hell out of you and tell you that they're going to change and that they're going to do this and they're going to do that to keep you around. But when you're really fed up and they realize it, they'll lash out because their ego is bruised. And they could feel rage. They could yell, get physical. And in severe cases, they will kill their partner. If I can't have you, nobody can. My life has been threatened numerous times. My daughter's life has been threatened numerous times. He even threatened to kill my daughter and himself every time he took her on a weekend because the system failed me and they failed her. I am fortunate that I learned how to play the game while legally, Jesus Christ, excuse me, while legally he still had rights to her. And when she was 17, that's when we totally disconnected all communication because I was I wouldn't be legally liable to getting in trouble. So if you're ready to break up with this kind of person, I want to give some tips. First, I want you to know your worth, and I want to remind you to remind yourself every fucking day that you deserve better, that you are worthy of real, true love, and you don't deserve any of this. I want you to strengthen your relationship with your friends and families who are going to be supportive, and I want you to tell them what's been going on and what you intend on doing with this breakup. I want you to build a support network with friends who you can trust that will remind you of what's real and what's not, because when you are so caught up in this type of relationship, you don't even know what the hell's real and what's not anymore, because you're so manipulated on the non-truths. I want you to get an order of protection if needed. I've had several. I want you to, if you're going to break up in person, do it in a public setting or have a friend or family member go with you. Do not go alone, especially if they've had explosive behaviors in the past. Do not go to an isolated place. And just know that it is not your fault. You will never, ever, ever be able to change this person. This person does not want to be changed, and they will never change. And last and not least, find a coach or a therapist who can help you heal from this experience. It's important for me to get this out there because I think there's a lot of law enforcement that need to be trained on looking for the signs. And I think there's a lot of young women and even older women, it doesn't matter what age you are, you could be in this relationship, but there's a lot more younger women getting into these bad relationships because of just being young and not being experienced and not knowing. And we need to develop more self-love and higher expectations for ourselves. We don't have to lower ourselves for other people. We have to learn how to love ourselves and accept ourselves and know our self-worth and get ourselves out of these circumstances as soon as possible. I'm going to go take care of her because she's having a hairy canary over something all over the place today. And I hope that this helps enlighten and help somebody, because it's not easy to talk about and not something I really wanted to revisit, but it's just been on my mind and on my heart the past couple of weeks. It just needs to get out there. So that's what I wanted to share with this evening. I love you all very much. Know your self-worth. You are loved. You are worthy. You deserve nothing but the best. If you're in a relationship and it is hard work, yelling, screaming, you're taking blame, like anything I talked about, girl, get the fuck out. Because when you're in a relationship with someone who truly loves you, man, it's none of that. You will be respected. You will be heard. They will take responsibility when they need to. It'll be a give and take energy. And you will feel like you could be yourself. You should be able to be yourself 100% of the time. And you should fucking be able to go out with your friends whenever you want. Now she's banging the door. I'm going to go take care of her. Love you all very much. Continue to shine that inner light bright because you're worth it.